In 2012, 3 legacy Rainbow operators, Kure Galanos, Gerald Morris, and their leader Daniel Bogart, were on a mission in an Eastern European breakaway state. Kure would maintain her position as a sniper outside the building, and Gerald and Daniel will enter. It's here where Gerald will betray Rainbow, killing Daniel and exploding the facility. Gerald will escape with an unknown group, and Kure, who was caught on the edge of this explosion, will end up being immobilized and restricted to a wheelchair. As well as this, around this time, the daughter of a wealthy Indian family by the name of Jumini Kelly Mohan Shah will have begun operating her new private military company known as Nighthaven. Around this time as well, Rainbow would be deactivated for unknown reasons until it was reactivated in 2015 after the rise of terrorism around the world, specifically a group known as the White Masks. The best soldiers from special forces around the world would be brought together and would be the start of this new squad. Rainbow would have many staff assigned to it as well, one of them being a psychological and cultural advisor known as Dr. Harvishva Pandey, also known as Harry. These new operators would train relentlessly to take down the White Masks, and their time would come when the White Masks attack a university in Massachusetts, United States known as Bartlett, and although Rainbow successfully neutralized them, the White Masks are still at large as a group, and Rainbow are given the green light to continue operations. To help clamp down on this threat, Rainbow expands to multiple different countries over the next few years, until 2019 where the White Masks are officially defeated, and Rainbow sees their bank accounts. Rainbow's leader Aurelia gets the position of Secretary of State in the US government, passing on her position of 6 to her cultural advisor, Harry Pandey. Harry begins to set in place a new future for Rainbow, setting up a system known as the Program. This decentralizes Rainbow from Hereford Base, creating new bases across the globe where operators can live and train. He also devises a new internal tournament under the guise of training, but in actuality, this is to determine who can lead Rainbow in the future. Harry would use the money they got from the White Masks to enlist the private military company known as Nighthaven to work alongside Rainbow. And over the next few years, many operators would continue to be enlisted into Rainbow, one of which being Sam Fisher, who was on the run from an unknown enemy and given sanctuary under the protection of Rainbow. He decided to make himself useful and became the first member of the Rainbow operations staff, becoming a combat trainer for the operators. Now, after many years of disagreement on how they should engage in the field, Callie would terminate the contract between Nighthaven and Rainbow, and they would go their separate ways. As well as this, Pulse, Ella, Finca, IQ, and Smoke would all leave Rainbow and go into the private sector alongside Nighthaven. With Harry's program now concluded, he determined there were 4 operators who would lead Rainbow into its future, and would give each of them a squad of operators to manage. Doc would lead the humanitarian squad known as Wolfguard, Thermite would lead the brute force squad known as redhammer, Hibana would lead the support squad known as viperstrike, and Kivera would lead the stealth squad known as ghosteyes. A few months after this, the CEO of Yata Data Security, Masayuki Yata, was assassinated whilst taking a stroll through a market. Yata Data Security was a company that Rainbow was working with and had accounts under. Yahata's bodyguard who was at the scene, Azami, would take the bullet casings used at the scene to one of her ex-Japanese police force colleagues, Hibana, and this is when they would learn that this was Nighthaven ordnance. Now this put Nighthaven on Rainbow's radar, and they began to do some investigation. They would find a way to infiltrate Nighthaven's base, and Nook would be sent in to extract data from their security room. Nighthaven found out about this and would retaliate by sending Grim to find Nook's true identity and using it as blackmail if they ever cross him again. It was around this time that both Rainbow and Nighthaven would learn of the situation in hand, and the Nighthaven ordnance was stolen and used to stage this assassination to pin it against them. They would also learn of an arms deal with stolen Nighthaven gear happening very soon and planned on intercepting. Rainbow would order Nighthaven not to get involved as they don't want a private military starting a conflict over this. Rainbow would send 5 operators themselves to deal with this situation, and whilst they are about to engage in this mission, the director of Rainbow, Harry, is met in his home by a masked figure known as Deimos. Deimos was the one orchestrating this conflict this whole time, and this mission our operators on was a trap. He would explode the facility, injuring 4 of the operators and putting one of them, Ash, in a coma. He would also kill Harry in cold blood, initiating his mission to eliminate Rainbow. Rainbow would quickly respond by finding as much intel on Deimos as possible and manage to infiltrate one of his cargo planes. Deimos would escape this scenario, however, Rainbow would find a tracking beacon on board, leading them to a compound in Brazil. It is here where they would find a defector of Deimos, a man by the codename of Fenrir, who was both a soldier and a scientist who was exploited by Deimos, and once Fenrir learned what Deimos was doing, he destroyed all his work and fled. Thermite would recruit Fenrir into his team, however was met with a lot of criticism due to people not trusting Fenrir. Fenrir would begin to prove his loyalty, however, when redhammer were deployed to a Spanish hostage crisis, where Fenrir aided the fact that there was no hostage casualties. It was learned one of the hostages worked for Yata Data Security, and he had to give over information or else they would kill his family. This was info that the fact that Rainbow was training some of their recruits at one of their bases known as Tower in South Korea. Deimos' soldiers would attack this tower, killing many of Rainbow's recruits, with one of them surviving, known as Ram. Ram and her instructor Vigil would finish off these remaining enemies and take the black box from the helicopter which attacked the tower. Here Solus would find that this helicopter departed from a commercial freight ship known as the Heartbreaker, and is currently moored off the coast of Portugal. As well as this, Rook and Mira would learn that the bullets that Deimos' soldiers are using can penetrate their armor, so they would begin to improve this as well. Wolfguard would deploy Thunderbird and their newest recruit Tubarão to monitor this freight ship, where they would follow some soldiers who took a small boat into a series of caves. It is here where they would would find Deimos' base and learn that the group he is working with is known as the Kudos Legion. They would also get intel that Deimos is planning on attacking Emerald Plains, a country club in Northern Ireland, which is actually secretly a dark site for Rainbow's overseeing politicians. They would relay this information to Doc, Mirror, and Rook, and they would quickly make their way to Northern Ireland. It is here where Doc, Mirror, and Rook would protect Rainbow's Secretary General. Deimos eventually gets the upper hand against them, but after an intervention by Sam Fisher, our operators survive by their improved armor, and Deimos is taken into Rainbow's custody. And it is here where Rainbow learned that Deimos is actually the ex-Rainbow operative Gerald Morris. After being in custody for a while, Deimos eventually gives up some information, but Rainbow take it with a grain of salt. They follow the leads until it eventually leads them to a safe house in Greece, where Sam Fisher enlists the help of Kure Galanos, the ex-Rainbow operator who once worked with Gerald. Her and Dokubi would manage to get information about an imminent attack by the Kudos Legion. However, they did not know the specific details, only that it's imminent. Kure tries to bargain with Deimos, however, he does not spill anything, and whatever attack is about to happen on Rainbow, they can only prepare for the worst and wait for their time. Thanks for watching and consider subscribing.